Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of ASCI Engineering Tales. Today, we are going to be meeting with Rajeev Kapur, who is the CEO of 1105 Media, began his tech journey with a company in very well known in the PC revolution days, computers, and he rose up to be the general manager for Southeast Asia and India many years ago. And since then, he has a lot of wisdom to share, and he has been part of newer generation companies. Or as a global business and technology leader and CEO, Rajiv reinvents business cultures, transforming stagnant sales into dynamic multi-million dollar growth businesses for small and middle market companies. As a true rainmaker and innovator, he is passionate about repairing broken market strategies, company cultures, and leadership stagnation to identify and capture new business opportunities. With work experience in over 20 countries, he has built and developed powerhouse global teams, purposefully inspiring collaboration. His select accomplishments include go-to-market strategy, innovation. In fact, at one of his companies, he revamped the product roadmap to double the number of patents to 12 in 2012. And at the Consumer Electronics Show, he and his company were declared innovation winners in 2012, 2013, and 2014. And he was also declared as the first mover in the Internet of Things market. He has had a great entrepreneurship mindset. He was recognized as the Tech America CEO of the Year finalist in 2012, Orange County Business Journal Entrepreneur of the Year in 2013, and he has successfully turned around 3 companies, leading to 2 exits. He goes to market through a profit-driven, innovative strategies. So, without much further ado, let's go and meet. Hello, Rajiv. How are you doing?
Fantastic, Piyush. How are you?
Wonderful. ASCI members, today we are going to meet the author of Chasing Greatness. I met Rajiv virtually during COVID after I came across his book, read it, and let me tell you, I often don't finish books starting to end, but I did, and I thought it'll be important for all of you members to meet a great personality. And he's got an eclectic background. But before I ramble on, I want him to tell in his own words, who is Rajiv Kapoor?
Well, first, Piyush, thank you very much. You've been a big fan and supporter. I remember when you first got the book and you reached out to me on LinkedIn, and since then, Chase Greatness has done very well. And so I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to talk to ASEI, whether it's going to be in Zoom or in person, whatever the case might be. I'm here to support the organization. And so, God, who is Rajiv Kapoor? It's interesting. I guess you could say growing up, I was an ABCD because I was born in the U.S. I was born in Los Angeles. My dad's an engineer. My dad went to Cal Poly Pomona. He came over on the Kennedy exchange program back. He was an engineer for Burroughs Corporation, and then a bunch of other things. And so, but I didn't go down the engineering route. I actually ended up going down more the marketing, sales, business operations, kind of finance route of things. And for me, it's an amazing, wonderful journey. I've had an amazing career, and it continues every day I live a life of you never being satisfied, and every day I explore new ideas and new opportunities. And so I guess my background is, I was, and I know you know this a little bit, but my first kind of real job after college, after my internships, was I was 100% commission salesperson for the old Gateway 2000 computer company.
Oh my goodness, Gateway.
Yeah,
I worked for
yeah,
them.
yeah. And so so back in 1991, I remember selling a 286 computer with like a 40 megabyte external hard drive, with a 12-inch monochrome monitor for $6,000, right?
You're
So
making the dinosaurs inside me wake up.
yeah, well, I'm sure there's plenty of dinosaurs who are listening too, so we're all the same. But yeah, no. Then from there, I got recruited to Dell, and I was at Dell for about 12 something years, and was an executive assistant to Michael for a little bit, and then I ran the West Coast for Dell, and then was asked to go to China and was in China for a couple years, helping to build that business up, and then came down to South Asia, was the general manager for the South Asian market, which was basically Thailand, Taiwan, Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia. And then I was also asked in the same process to help launch Dell India for domestic consumption. We already had Whitefield and Bangalore for call center support, but in terms of selling and marketing of PCs and servers and laptops in India, that's what my team was essentially was supposed to do. And so did that as well. So did that for about 12 years, and then our two sons, Sean is now, geez, time flies. He's now a senior at USC. Nick Hill, or Nick or Nicky as we call him, he is a sophomore at University of Miami, and Nick was born in Singapore. And so we decided that, you know what, we started this family and let's move back to the States. So in mid to late 2004, we moved back to the States, and I was president of a kind of a home automation, home control company called Smart Home. I did that for a few years, and then was CEO of an audio technology company out of Zurich, Switzerland. And now for the last 8 years or so, I've been CEO of a business-to-business marketing services company called 1105 Media. And 1105 Media focuses on helping. So our main focus is to connect buyers of people's products with the sellers of people's products. That's essentially what we do. And we're primarily in the technology space, big data analytics, the Microsoft stack. So that's kind of like the professional background. Personally, as I mentioned, married, two boys. We have an amazing dog who's my third son, and big time. I would say, geek and sports fan and huge Laker fan, and so that's kind of about me. I wrote the book, which has done really well, and we'll see where it goes.
Awesome, awesome. Guys, engineer's son into business and so many varied kind of businesses, but always connected with technology. And when Rajiv, you were talking about Burroughs, I was reminded of TBL, Tata Burroughs Limited. That was one of the companies that when I was in college, I had applied to. And of course, I ended up with the Tata's group, but a different company when I started. Regardless, let's dive a little bit more into your Dell business. And in your book, you talk about the various gyrations that you had and how you ended up in Asia. At one point, you were leading the China market as well.
Yeah.
And how do you see the market of that time versus the technology market of today? And I know you're not into that particular business right now, but you may have an opinion based on your experience. So, how do you see the computing market today versus the?
Look, I think the computing market today is absolutely moving away from the hardware side of the business. Obviously, hardware is important, but the hardware is just a means of delivery now, right? Whereas if you think about what it was like in the early 90s through the early 2000s, it was very much you needed to have the greatest gaming machine possible to do certain things. You needed to have people were excited about, oh, I got the new Pentium processor. Now nobody cares, right? It's just viewed as a delivery mechanism, right? It's just viewed as a box. What's in the box, what's in the gut of the box is what's more important nowadays, right? So it's a software world. It will continue to be a software world. You want to make sure, obviously, you want to make sure that these things can connect and talk to each other. And I get all that stuff. I'm not trying to discount the hardware side of things. All I'm simply saying is that if you look at where the future is going, it's going to be going into AI, machine learning, IoT type devices work because of the ability to connect via Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, the software that enables the Ring and Nest cameras to connect with alarm systems to my phone, whatever the case might be. Even even though I'm a Dell evangelist, I've now pretty much morphed my entire ecosystem to Apple because it's easy. I've got the Apple Watch, I've got the new AirPods, I've got I've got the iPhone, I've got my MacBook. And so to have that enclosed ecosystem to me makes it really simple and easy, right? And so, I think on the hardware side, engineering side, I think the market has spoken. You know, if you're looking at kind of like uh, corporate infrastructure, the top two or three players are going to be Dell, HP, and then it's a toss up between IBM and others, right? At least in the server storage side of things, and so when you're looking on the software side, there's so much happening. Microsoft is obviously under Satya Nadella has made such an amazing turnaround over the last, 8 to 9 years since he's been there with what they've done, what Amazon's been able to do with AWS, what Salesforce has done to change the way people do sales and marketing, Marketos of the world. This is, the future of the world is going to be in software. It's going to be in algorithms. It's going to be, in the ability to really, to understand, the math and science part of this. And look, if nothing else, I mean, I think it was yesterday, right, where NASA launched that rocket that hit the asteroid. That was, I can't remember that. I'm going to get these numbers wrong. You're going to know the numbers better than me, Piyush, probably. But it was like, we launched a rocket to hit a small asteroid 11 million miles away, dead center. I mean, that to me is just just to me that's a marvel. To me that to me that's amazing. And if you look at what's happening in the world, I think with the advent of the supercomputers and what we can now put in those supercomputers and how those supercomputers can now allow for that, we're going to be able to over time. I think over the time of the next 10 years, I think you're going to see longevity for people increase. I think you're going to see major solving of diseases. If we, meaning we, the human beings of this planet, don't get in our own way, it could be an amazing, bright future.
No, absolutely. This is, fascinating story and the perspective that you have. Now, while you were talking about the different vendors, back in your Dell days, did you ever think about cloud computing or where we are going with cloud? Did you ever think that a day would come that hardware would become, people would not even care about brands, right? I remember the battle that used to be between market share for HP, IBM, Dell, and then of course IBM hived off the PC business to Lenovo, and I was there at IBM during that time, and when it happened, and now it's like, okay, nobody even cares what kind of CPUs and GPUs are there behind the cloud, whether it is Amazon GCP or Azure. All people care about is the computing power, the storage, and what you can do with it. So, has any of your business, and I know you manage multiple businesses, you are a CEO of a conglomerate, does any of your business look into cloud computing and AI?
Yeah, yeah. We actually one of the brands we own is Pure AI. So if
Mhm.
you go to pureai.com, so we have a brand there. We have AWS Insider, which is obviously we have that. We have MedCloud Insider. We have App Dev Trends, ADT magazine. So if you look at everything we do, everything we do at some level is touching. Well, I wouldn't say everything. I would say that 70% of every of things we do touches the cloud at some level. And if you look at the events we put on, look, before COVID, and you know the story, right? Before COVID, we were doing 18 pretty big face-to-face events a year.
Mhm.
And when COVID happened, that dropped to zero.
Yeah.
And it's literally taken, like in our big event coming up in Orlando here in November called Live 360, that event's going to have probably about 1,300 to 1,400 people, and it's all coming to talk about what's going on in the Microsoft stack and cloud, kind of the future, of the developer world and what that community looks like. And so, and then we have, then the other business I have is TDWI, T like
Mhm.
Tom, D like David, W as in whiskey, I as in India. And if people want to go to tdwi.com or tdwi.org, you'll see it. And that business is wholly focused on the future of business intelligence, big data, analytics,
Yeah.
and that world doesn't exist without the cloud at some level, right?
Right, right.
So
I
you need to have
remember
the cloud.
TDWI very clearly. I think I mentioned previously as well. My very first conference that I attended and saw Bill Inman and the Microsoft chairman on the stage was a TWI conference in Arizona, Phoenix. So it's you're bringing back some great memories of my old time, and of course I've been in the BI and data analytics space, so I fully appreciate what you guys did there, and please continue.
Well, look, if you want to go to TWI Vegas next year, let me know. I'll get you a pass.
Awesome, awesome. Well, let's talk about this year because this year is not yet done. We still have more than 90 days in this year left, and we would definitely want you in one of our programs live, hopefully in Southern California, if not wherever next we have our big convention. And Rajiv, there's tremendous things to learn from you because I saw that you went to MIT for an AI program as well. Uh, uh, what was that about, and what made you want to learn about AI?
And so that was a couple. So that was like something that was like 3 or 4 years ago when I did that, and so I just wanted to learn. I just wanted to figure out what's going on in that space, and I want to understand how to apply it in business, and I want to understand the impact and the future. And there's a lot of and the biggest thing you learn is in life is that you should never be done learning. And so I'm the type of person where I'm never done learning, and so I figured if you're going to go learn AI, why not go learn it from MIT? So I went and learned it from MIT, and so
That's
it was
that's
great class. It was a great course. It was a lot of reading, a lot of understanding, but but I mean, they didn't teach me how to program machine, algorithms, but they did teach me, look, at the end of the day, this is going to understand and know is garbage in, garbage out,
yep.
right? And that, you know, you know, a machine, at the end of the day, your training data is going to be the most crucial, important thing out there. And if you get that wrong at the outset, no matter what you do from an AI or machine learning perspective, will be a failure if you get your training data wrong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And the audience here, notwithstanding that I have spent the last 10 years in the AI field as well as business intelligence and business analytics has moved on and leveraging the latest technologies in AI and so on and so forth. What I want to emphasize here is look at this great gentleman, what career he's had, and he's still learning. So the message here is never stop learning. And Rajiv, I want to hear from your words, in your words, to the youngsters who are listening. Many of our members are, of course, established professionals, but we are focused on empowering the youth and creating opportunities, internship and job opportunities for youth as well. And that is where our message to the youngsters, to the folks who are listening, what would be your parting message for today's event?
Yeah, look, I think the most important thing here is that you have to remember that you were once a youth yourself, and that you have to be patient, and that this youth is growing up with a different set of values and things that they find important. Um, this youth values working from home. We didn't grow up in that world. This youth values more diversity. Obviously, I'm talking to a bunch of engineers of Indian origin, so you understand the value there. Uh, but this group also, for me, and one reason actually why I wrote the book, and I talk about this idea of, and the whole foundation of Chase Greatness is this concept of enlightened leadership. And the basic concept of enlightened leadership is it takes the idea of servant leadership, and it says, okay, Piyush, servant leadership says, I'm here to work for you. I'm the CEO. I work for you. What can I do to make you successful? What tools do you need? Fine. There's no disputing that. That's terrific. Enlightened leadership takes servant leadership and takes it one level beyond the business. And I think that's what's important for the people listening to this need to understand is that every generation evolves, and the evolving, and in the next 3 years, the majority of the workforce is going to be Gen Z, millennial, and for the first time, women are going to be the majority of the workforce, right? And remember this, most companies fail not because they do the wrong thing, they fail because they did the right thing for too long. And that's the same goes true in leadership and management. So my biggest takeaway for you from your question is you have to adapt. There's going to be one manager, there's going to be 12 employees, right? You have to adapt to the changing demographic, to the changing workforce, to the changing value system. Just like our people that are older than us had to adapt to us, we now have to adapt to that next generation coming in. And if you don't, you're going to have problems. And so be patient, learn to adapt, and and learn to say, this idea of enlightened leadership says, I'm not only going to take care of you, Piyush, in the business, I'm going to do everything I can to help you be successful outside the business as well.
Awesome. On that note of enlightened leadership, Rajiv, thank you very much from my soul to yours. And this is our tradition. I
My
know you were
pleasure.
born here,
Thanks,
but I was
buddy.
born in India and I don't leave my roots. So I look forward to seeing you in person one of these days. And if you are ever in the Bay Area, please holler and we'll get together. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my friend. Take care.